following program is sponsored by Michael W. Smith. The views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Arizona, Brother Mike back on the radio. Welcome to HardcoreChristianity.com. Thanks for tuning into the program. Today's Bible study, Buying and Selling in the New World Order. I got a Fright Night radio program for you today. Please call somebody and tell them the radio program's on. This is going to be very scary, and it's actually happening right now. This is Brother Mike. I'm the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center in Central Phoenix. We're on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road. It's the red brick building. HardcoreChristianity.com is the website. If you go to the website, you'll notice we have 2 live services every week, 7 p.m. Arizona and Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Both the services are streamed. It's on youtube.com/House of Healing AZ. Also, when you go to the website, please sign up for one of our free seminars. Please come to my Deliverance and Healing Training class the 4th Saturday of every month at noon in the small sanctuary. Don't forget about sending us another donation by using the PayPal button. Also, Sister Karen is on the homepage of the website, ready to list your house for sale. She loves working with born-again Christians, and they love working with her. If you need a religious exemption to avoid the satanic vaccine, send me an email, mike@hardcorechristianity.com. I'll send you one out immediately. Also, if you know someone who needs deliverance or healing and can't come to the Deliverance Center, send me an email, mike@hardcorechristianity.com, and I will send you the miracle list, a step-by-step guide to freedom that works 100% of the time. Please remember our Zoom deliverance service. It's free every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Arizona and Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Send me an email and I will send you the code and the password. Buying and selling in the New World Order. Folks, you heard it here first. Hell is coming to breakfast. Revelation chapter 13, here it is. The false prophet will deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of the miracles that he has power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to all those that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. The Greek word is icon, where we get our English word icon. The beast had a wound by a sword, but he lived. The Greek word for sword there is machaira. It means a knife. Apparently there's a suicide attempt on the Antichrist. It's an up-close personal attempt. He's stabbed with a knife, and it doesn't kill him. He recovers. Then it says, Revelation 13, quote, the false prophet has power to give life to the image of the beast, so the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. Apakteno is the Greek word there. It means to be executed. And it says the false prophet causes all, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or their foreheads. And no man can buy or sell unless he has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. The Greek word for the mark there is charagma, and it means something that's etched into the skin, something permanent. It's not something like a watch or a bracelet or a ring or something like that that you can put on and off. No, a charagma is something that you dig in and put into the hand. I think it's an implant of some kind, like the ones they currently have, where you put this sensor in your hand and then you scan it like you do a credit card at QT, and you can pay for groceries or deposit checks or what have you. That's exactly what's currently happening right now. Several countries have already gone to this. They're putting these charagmas in the right hand. They're putting in these sensors in the hand so you can just use your hand and scan like a credit card. It's happening right now as I'm speaking to you. Well, check this out. I wanted to share this with you because it's extremely important. Last week, the World Economic Forum had their annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. And Dr. Pippa Malmgren, a genius who is a technology entrepreneur and an economist, was one of the guest speakers there. And according to this Malmgren guy, the world is well on its way to implementing the electronic banking system that would open every transaction of every person to government scrutiny, he said. He said, quote, "I was very privileged. My father was the advisor to President Nixon when he came off the gold standard in 1971. So I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important financial structure is to absolutely everything," he said. He said, and what we're seeing in the world today, I think we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to abandon the traditional system of money and the traditional system of accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. I want you to remember that term for the future. Nobody's ever heard of the term until today, but it's going to be a term that's going to be used frequently in the future. Blockchain. And this guy goes on to say, I'm quoting out of the report, quote, "It means digital. It means having an almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy. And it will give us far greater clarity over what's going on around the world." He said, unlike cryptocurrencies, it will give the central banks control over people's money. The banks will be able to track every transaction and control how it's spent, blocking it from being transferred to people or organizations the bank deems undesirable. Now, I don't know if you remember this. Last year, this happened. Bank of America coughed up all kinds of personal data on their clients to the government. And a few months ago, I know you remember this, Canada attacked the truckers and froze their bank accounts and pulled up the bank accounts from people who had donated to the truckers protesting in Ottawa. And they froze their bank accounts, and they were tracking the money they took out of the account to donate to the truckers. This just happened a few months ago. In addition to that, the Biden administration already signed an executive order to get into your banking account for the insurrection people, all these insurrectionists that they're fraudulently charging with all kinds of asinine crimes that aren't true. They have been into their bank accounts. They've frozen their accounts. They are tracking their debit cards and their credit card purchases to find out who else was there on January 6th during the fake insurrection. I don't know if you remember this, but in October of last year, President Biden tried, but he failed, to have his proposal to monitor people's bank accounts for any transaction that was over $600. Do you happen to remember that? What's happening here? Here's what's happening. Cryptocurrency is going to be taken over because the government and the central banks cannot control it. And according to this expert, they're going to kill cash. They're going to kill it. And they're going to replace it with a global digital currency. and you will be required to have a global digital identity for every person on the planet that has banking interests. Everybody. In addition, an economist and a financial journalist, another guy who's a genius, this guy's an Israeli, his name is Rafi Farber. I read his article on the Economic Forum. He said, quote, blockchain technology is just an Excel spreadsheet, and it is spread around so that everybody can see it. They're extremely trackable. This is the same thing that the banks are already doing it. Banks and governments are always looking for a way to monitor transactions, and blockchain technology is not a new thing, but it's going to be expanded because the government is already doing it. Blockchain is our future. They're going to outlaw cash. And you can see the government doing it now. They're printing dollar bills. 40% of all the dollar bills ever printed in this country have been printed during the Biden administration. 40% in the history of America. They want to do another gigantic multi-trillion-dollar COVID relief bill, which will cause inflation to skyrocket again and the dollar to continue to plummet. Right now, all over the world, people are trading in dollar bills because they're going down in value on a daily basis. The central bank in the United States is doing it deliberately to remove the value of the dollar bill, and they want to implement this global currency and this tracking system through the central banks. And right now, as I'm speaking to you, the Biden administration is trying to figure out some way to be able to control and regulate and track cyber securities, Bitcoin and all the rest. Once you outlaw the cash, everything from that point on becomes trackable. Nothing is too big or too small. Everything's going to be watched. And don't you see, it has to go that way, because the Antichrist will be the most powerful human and the most intelligent human that ever lived. And the false prophet, with his miracles, his artificial intelligence, and his deep fakes, will put him in power.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.